The Last Kumite. Okay, let's talk about this movie. We're going to use my space system to break it down. Story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score between 0 and 2. 2 is the best you can get. I'm going to grade this based on the fact that obviously this is a throwback, low budget kind of kung fu martial arts movie. Think like those great Cynthia Rothrock movies, the Billy Blanks movies, Jalal Merahi, all those great action movies. I just met Jalal Merahi a couple weeks ago. That was a fantastic time watching Tiger Claws on the big screen with him in attendance. It was awesome. Obviously, this plays a lot into Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme, who's literally the greatest person who ever lived. I love Van Damme. Been a fan since like friggin' like Black Eagle, and I even saw No Retreat, No Surrender back in that time. I own every Van Damme movie. Bloodsport's one of the best. Of course, the Kumite made famous in that movie. This is the last Kumite. So a lot of people came together to bring this to us. We got Stan Bush music. Oh, we're going to talk about that, of course. A lot of familiar faces. Matthias Hughes is the villain. He's a bastard in this movie. You got, of course, you got, who else? You got Cynthia in there, Billy in there, a bunch of other people. You actually have some YouTube people in there. Viking Samurai. Oh my God, Viking Samurai's in this movie. And actually, I thought he was pretty good. I thought he was pretty good in this movie. So that's great. Oliver Harper did the editing. I think that's the Oliver Harper who has his channel, who always talks about movies, does movie reviews, great channel. I'm not affiliated with anyone involved in this movie. So we're gonna be super critical, and we're gonna do the J-Man breaking it down. I'm not gonna give anything a pass. Okay, we're gonna really like analyze this. Like, this might be a little bit of a longer video, but bear with me. We're gonna get through it. For the storyline, I'm actually gonna give it a 1 for the storyline. Now, the reason I can't give it a 2 or even a 1.5 is that I'm using expectation levels versus what I got. So my expectation level was that this movie was actually going to be more of a celebration of those tournament movies, like a Kickboxer or Bloodsport, of course. And I think that with the story, they made it a little darker. And that normally wouldn't be a problem for me. You know, obviously I love, I love the Terrifier movies. You can see my little Terrifier collection right up there. So, I mean, I love horror movies. And obviously this is not as crazy as Saw or Terrifier or something, but there's not going to be any spoilers. But the loose storyline is that the people who are competing in the Kumite, or at least some of them, their families have been kidnapped and held hostage, and they're being forced to participate, and they'll kill their families too if they don't win. The story was muddled, so I didn't understand exactly, because it felt like these two guys were like, well, F this, I'm not going to compete. Then they just got killed. So then are their families, is their wives now killed? Like, that's kind of dark. Normally that would be okay. Look, they kidnap these people, you're forced to fight in this tournament, it's an underground thing, that's how it goes. I don't mind that as a story, but I actually mind that for this movie, because they've got Stan Bush music, they've got the montages, lots of montages, they got colorful fighters from different places that do different styles of martial arts. This is a throwback, but if you're going to make the story dark, I find it hard to get excited or cheer on the bad guys or cheer on the good guys, who, whatever characters I happen to like, if the outcome of their losing is their death or their family's death. And I thought, oh, well, I wanted to kind of cheer for some of the bad guys. I'm like, oh, this guy's cool, Now, I was going to give it a 0.5 for story, because I actually found that entire aspect very disappointing for me, too, if I'm being honest. I wanted it to be more fun. But I ended up giving it a 1 anyway. So 0 is bad, 1 is good, 2 is amazing. So I'm going to give it a 1 for good, because given the fact that now I know that this is the story, it was handled pretty well. They try to get out of it by going to the cops are paid off, blah, 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 right? So there's a little bit of a twist in the end, which I'm not going to spoil. So that, I kind of came to terms with it while watching the movie, but really I kind of wanted it to be we're here for the martial arts, we're going to do this tournament. And then the bad guy, like Bolo Chong Li in Bloodsport, was bad because he was going too far in some cases with the tournament. Like, he was really injuring people so that he was crippling them. Some cases even try to kill them, stomp Jackson's head, all that kind of crazy shit. So I wish it was more about celebrating the tournament and the martial arts rather than, oh, they're forced to fight or their families are going to get killed. Let's move on to the pacing. I'm going to give the pacing a 1.5. I actually found the pacing to be pretty good. I wasn't bored at any point in time during the movie, though it is an hour and 45 minutes. It really didn't need to be that long for the simplicity of the story. They could have easily shaved 10 minutes, no problem. There is quite a lot of montage footage of him training, and I found it weird here because it wasn't a flashback to how he became this good. He was already good. Billy, Cynthia, and a few other people who are training with him are making him better. He only has 1 week before the tournament starts. I don't know how much he could have really picked up in 1 week with their training. I also started to question, why are other people not training with Billy Blanks and Cynthia and these other guys as well? You found some of the guys who are like fast, and he's training with these other fighters, and you start to think, why aren't they in the tournament? So it's a little bit weird. I think a lot of that could have just been shaved off, would have made the movie a lot quicker, and it would have definitely helped in building the tension as we go. But I was not bored, and it was like I was looking at my watch, I go, when's this going to end? So I'm still giving it a 1.5 because I did pretty much enjoy what was going on. So there you go. Artistry. Now, artistry in a movie like this is not going to really rely on special effects. It's going to rely on martial arts battles. It's going to rely on cinematography. It's going to rely on music. All that said, I'm giving it a 1.5. I'm close to giving it a 2. I'll tell you why I'm giving it 1.5, so better than good. A lot of good fights. So there's some good hits. You got some, killer music. You got a few tracks from Stan Bush, and Stan Bush is the friggin' best. If you didn't know, I'm letting you know right now, so you're welcome for letting you know. Definitely great to have him have some songs. Some pretty good cinematography. This movie looked a lot better than I thought it was going to look when it first kind of started getting off the ground. You thought, well, how good is this going to be? It feels like it's a fan project, whatever. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I'm not giving it a full 2 because I do feel that there's a few times where the hits, or like you can kind of, the hits weren't that good, or you know what I mean? The fights could have been a bit more interesting, or sometimes there's parts where this guy's just flipping around. You're like if you're fighting for your life, the problem is it all goes back to the story. Bloodsport was about the martial arts, celebrating the martial arts, honoring your master, winning the tournament for the glory of the win. This one is, I need to survive in order to make sure that my family survives. And when you have that, I would expect the fights to be more hardcore and a little bit more gritty and a bit more violent and more urgency. I felt a lot of the times there's some flashy martial arts, and that's cool when you're, hey, look, I'm showing off my skills, but not, my family's going to die, so I can't be farting around here. I got to get this shit done, So that's the only reason why. It's not that the fighting, there were some hits that were like kind of, if you like, I don't know if he got hit, it looked kind of off, but pretty good. Oliver Harper is credited as the editor. Good job on the editing, I thought. Got some cutaways of Billy and Cynthia, so that was all good. Overall, I really enjoyed the artistic part of it, the music and the shots and all that, so that was good. For the characters, I'm going to give it a 1.5. Again, there's no need to talk about any of the guys that we know about. Billy, Cynthia, Matthias. I forgot the guy's name from Kickboxer, and his brother's in it too. I forgot their names. It's a blank. I apologize. You guys are awesome. I apologize. I forgot your name. Is it Mohammed and Abdel? I don't remember. Okay. So anyways, they're all great. Matthias Hughes is a bastard in this, and he's absolutely fantastic. Billy Blanks is just awesome to me. This is a childhood hero of mine. Same with Jalal Merhi, Cynthia Rothrock. These three, watched tons of their films. I have Cynthia's autograph. I got it personalized off the website. I'd love to meet her someday. She's a hero of mine as well. These people are legends for me. I know that they're not at the status of like, obviously a Stallone or a Schwarzenegger. They're not even at a Van Damme or Dolph Lundgren level or a Seagal level. They're below that. But to me, a lot of them are above some of these other guys, though Dolph Lundgren was He-Man and Punisher, so those are two of my favorite characters. So Dolph Lundgren's in a pretty high pedestal. Van Damme is a personal hero, but Cynthia, Billy, Matthias, These guys are just great. Cynthia Rothrock is awesome in this for this. She should just been in it a lot more because she's so good. I just like seeing her. I think she's really cool. Billy, there's something about Billy that's very special for me. Just when I see him talking, I just immediately buy into whatever character he's playing. I think he's friggin' awesome. Okay, so we got some new guys here. I actually liked the main guy. I found that I was rooting for him. His daughter is kidnapped. His daughter was not annoying. She was a normal girl, and I actually cared about her. I wanted her to live. There's a couple other characters. There's a female in there. There's another guy in there, and I don't remember the characters' names. I'm sorry. Rivers, I think, was the main guy's name. Spears, I think, was the other name. And then there's the girl. So their families have been kidnapped. There's a sister who's kidnapped. There's the guy's wife, and then there's the daughter. I found the three kidnappees or whatever to be sympathetic. They weren't idiots or whatever. They were just regular people. They didn't deserve to have this happen to them. I question whether, I know they address this in the film about the girl saying, well, can she really compete in the Kumite with these men? She's pretty badass from what we see, but watching MMA or any of this kind of stuff, there's no way she would just be utterly destroyed immediately. I'm sorry. I just can't buy into it. I could buy into it. Let's go back to the story. I could buy into it if this was hey, it's a celebration of martial arts. We're just having a fun with this movie. That's it. But when you're saying the stakes are life and death, there's innocent people on the line. It's not just winning money. It's you need to survive. I don't think she would have survived at all. I think that guy would just beat the crap out of her. But I liked her character. So this is where I'm at it's like I like the character and I thought she did a good job, but I just don't believe that she would even win the first match. They kind of got around it by her doing a really cool strike and kind of nail, and you're like, well, okay. That's not a spoiler. She's not going to get beat up, right? So that was, I did like those three characters. I do want to talk about Viking Samurai, who I've been a supporter of his channel for a long time. I subscribed a long time ago. My friend Owen from the Action Elite, I believe they might be friends, but that did not influence my opinion because I still liked him. I'm not saying I liked him because I have a friend of a friend or whatever. I actually thought he was pretty good. He was kind of the ass character. They do something fun with the character towards the end, but I thought he did pretty well. He looked pretty ripped too, so he looked like he could fight. He had some good moves as well. So overall, 1.5 for the characters. I did enjoy all the characters. The villain is it's hard to compare someone to Bolo. I mean, Bolo has such powerful presence. This guy was just screaming and yelling, and I thought, I think they should have left him more of a mystery, and I just couldn't buy into his character. He's supposed to be Cynthia's student who just went crazy or whatever. I'm like, I didn't like him at all, really, to be honest. I didn't think he was a very interesting character or a compelling villain. He was just like a thug. That's my opinion. What can I say? So I'm going to give it a 1.5. I still liked all the characters, so there you go. For the overall enjoyment factor score, I'm actually going to give it a 1.5 as well. I was almost going to give it a 2, but you know what? The story is still... I'm still going to gripe on the story a little bit. I wish it was more about celebrating the martial arts and having a tournament of all these great guys to come in and let's just fight and root for the guy you want to win. There's this luchador-looking guy. I was like, oh man, this luchador guy's awesome. And of course he gets beat up. You're like, oh... I just wish they would have made it, this is crazy, I wish they would have made it less serious and more fun, and I think that would have added to some of the whole aesthetic of the entire piece. But overall, really enjoyed the last Kumite. I thought it was really good. So my overall score is a 7 out of 10. That might seem low to you guys, but if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that my scale on this is a 5 or 6. Is like a 5 is a pass. If I give a movie a 5 out of 10, that means every category scored a 1, let's say. And that means the movie was good. 6 means it was a little bit better than good. 7 or 8 is like, wow, that was really pretty damn good. I mean, 9 or 10 is like, wow, knock your socks off. Like Bloodsport's like, 9 or 10. Right? Well, Bloodsport's a 10. Who am I kidding? It's a 10. So obviously, if Bloodsport's going to be a 10 in this genre, then this movie's not going to be as good as Bloodsport or Kickboxer or Lionheart, right? Van Damme's presence is just too overpowering to even compete against, really. But the strong points are the fights were pretty good, looked good. Having Billy, Cynthia, all those guys in it is great. I did like the leads, and I did buy into them, and I did want them to win, so there is that. Weak villain, story was not what I expected. It's not bad, but not what I wanted. So there's my overall kind of thoughts on it. Ladies and gentlemen, please like the video and subscribe and let me know what you thought of Last Kumite. I don't know how big this movie is getting, how much you can get it. It is available on Amazon on Blu-ray, so make sure you guys check that out. Let me know your thoughts. That's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Until next time.